Well, hello. Napoleon Hill's the eight lesson in Napoleon Hill's 17 principles of personal achievement. Number eight is enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is faith in action. It is the intense emotion known as burning desire. See, it comes from within, although it radiates outwardly in the expression of one's voice or their countenance. Talk Leadership with Cedric starts now. Well, hello and welcome to Talk Leadership with Cedric. Everybody needs a little TLC. Talk Leadership with Cedric is where we focus on leadership and personal growth with business leaders, educators, and local thought leaders. Our goal is to introduce our audience to leaders who are making an impact with innovative ideas. Now, our guiding leadership principle is the law of contribution, which says growing yourself enables you to grow others. So you can't give what you don't have. So first you must grow yourself in order to grow others. We believe that outstanding leaders like yourself will help us to help others. So tonight, we have another dynamic leader with us. Now, every week I like to do a proper introduction of our guests. So let me do a proper introduction of our guest today. And our guest is Ms. Rosabell Jimenez. Now, Rosabell was born in the Dominican Republic, and she lived there throughout her early childhood before moving to the United States at the age of 10. Now, she grew up in Rockville, Maryland, with her parents and her older brother. At 17 years old, she left home and went off to college, University of Maryland, College Park. She loved being on her own, so she stayed at school. I mean, she's just like, woo, I have my independence. I can make my own decisions. So she left and she stayed at school during the summer and the winters, and she held down not one job, not two jobs, but three jobs, ladies and gentlemen. Now, that's what you're talking about. Hard work right there. She had two jobs on campus and one off campus. And one of them was in a Jewish synagogue, which is awesome. She graduated from University of Maryland, College Park from the Robert H. Smith Business School with a Bachelor of Science in Marketing and International Business and a citation in Business Language Spanish. Growing up, she was told that a career in business, an accountant to be exact, was the way to go. Shortly after entering business school and attending her first accounting class, she realized very quickly, this is not for me. You know what, folks? I had that exact same experience with accounting. So then she moved on to finance and quickly realized, that's not for me. I'm sure from our audience out there, that sounds familiar to you. You probably had that same experience at some point. Then she moved into marketing, and then she seemed that it seemed more that this was her style. She got into her lane. She added international business and the extra citation because she had dreams of traveling. Now, and we're going to talk about her travels here in just a little bit. After college, she had a sales job at Aflac, that duck that's on the commercial all the time. And just a few months before deciding to move to New York City. Now, Rosabell and her husband were ready for a new environment after being in New York for a while. And they eventually decided to uproot and leave New York City. And they looked at places like the great country of Texas. They looked at Florida. They looked at California. But ultimately, they decided to move to Punta Cana, Dominican Republic. And that's where they reside today. So, Rosabell, welcome to the show.
Hello, Cedric. Thank you for that great introduction. I'm so
Absolutely.
happy to be here.
Well, thank you. I am so glad to have you here. Now, I will tell you what, you have, as I was reading your bio, and folks, I didn't read her full bio, but I mean, when I was reading it, I was just like, wow, you have such a great life story. Um, and one of the things I
Thank
told
you.
Rosabell before we came on the air was that she has a book in her. And audience, I'm gonna tell you, you're gonna see that tonight. You're gonna see her personality and her style come out tonight. And you're gonna see that she does have a book in her, and I'm gonna need everybody to go and purchase that when it comes out. Um,
My hire you as my publicist.
so you know what I want to do, Rosabell. We're going to talk about your business. We're going to talk about your leadership styles, but I really want to spend a little bit of time talking about your journey and your life story, because I just find that it's so fascinating. So you know, in your story, one of the things I picked up is you have a resilience about you, meaning an ability to bounce back. Now, what do you contribute to having that skill? You know, most people give up pretty quickly, but you didn't.
Yeah, I think it comes from my parents and my upbringing. You know, I always looked up to my parents and saw everything that they went through. I mean, they have an amazing immigrant story, which might be good for another book. Um, but you know, just what they went through and how they pushed through and set goals and set things, guided by what they wanted for the family, for our family, and just seeing them go through that their journey and pulling through and giving us everything we needed. Me and my brother. I feel like they showed me by doing that as a role model. They showed me, you know, not to give up, how to get through things, how to, you know, be resilient. I wouldn't call it, didn't call it that back then, or I didn't know what it was. But now, when you pose this question, you know, my thought comes back to my parents and what I saw from them, and the way that they got through things. To me, that's where I get it.
Wow. Well, that's awesome. And you know, at one point you were all alone in New York City. Now I know that had to be scary, right? Just thinking about a young kid. And I know you weren't a kid, but you still were pretty young, right? Being alone in New York City. So what was going through your mind at the time when you're like, I'm in this big city by myself?
I know. Yes. You know, I've always been the independent one, you know, as from the get-go. And then when I found myself alone in New York, which originally I didn't, you know, I was with someone at the time. But then, you know, that didn't work out. And, you know, it was, okay, the reason that I moved was, you know, plans with someone else. And now that's gone. So I had to decide, do I stay in New York or do I go back to Maryland to, you know, have the support of my family and then, you know, just start, you know, do a life in Maryland. But, you know, I decided to stick it through. And, you know, I like New York. I wanted to be in the city. I wanted to say that I made it in New York.
Okay.
You know, I didn't want New York to beat me. So, you know, they say if you make it in New York, you make it anywhere, right? So
Okay.
I needed to make it in New York, and it was scary. It was lonely. Of course, you meet a lot of people, but it's not the same thing. You know, I was new to New York, so I didn't have long-term friends or family that I was that close to. So it did feel alone. But I was determined to make it through. And, you know, I think I figured, you know, this is not going to be permanent. Like, I'm going to be able to get through this and push forward. I did meet some amazing people that are my friends till today that definitely helped through that process. And obviously having supportive friends around helps you get through those you know, times that seem difficult or lonely, or just because you're in a strange big city, like
Right.
City. Um, so
Wow. Well, that's awesome that at that young age you had that ability to one, confidence, resilience, grit, determination, right, drive, fortitude, all of those things just like come up when I read your story. So
I think the young piece also has to do with it because, we're younger, we think we're invincible, we're a little bit fearless at that moment. So I probably, got into some things that are, we're in situations that's like, I look back and I'm like, okay, I'm so glad I made it through. Like, I'm really glad I made it through. But I think also, to be honest, the age helps. When you're young, you're saying, hey, this is the time where I get to explore, or get to see what's out there, define what my life should be. And I think I also had a little bit of that in there that got me through it.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. Youth and inexperience really does something for you.
Right. Right.
Meanwhile, your parents were probably in Maryland going, oh my God, my baby, let's go get her.
Oh yeah, no, I told her everything. I told them, my parents, everything was fine. Everything was great. They had the experience to know better. Like, only, share, only share what's necessary. I don't want to worry them or anything.
Wow. Well, that is awesome. I tell people all the time, Rosabell, that you don't get what you deserve. You get what you ask for. And early in your career journey, you said that you were talking with a potential employer about this position, and they were like, "Oh, you have good experience, and personality and style. We like you, but this position is temporary." But you had the confidence to tell them, "Well, that's nice, but you're not looking for a temporary position. You want a more full-time type of position." So, how did you get the confidence to say that? Were you worried that it was going to eliminate you from running for that opportunity?
Yeah, when that opportunity came about, I already had some experience, in the field that I was discovering a field that I wanted to go into, and maybe a year back, I had already decided that I was going to follow this path and see where it would take me. So when that opportunity came about, it was the opportunity came about and it was temporary.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew that I wanted to, I gave it some thought, but I knew that I wanted to let them know that I was looking for a permanent position, because at that point I was, that's what I was looking for. And I think that's why it came natural to me to express that, because I had already decided that that's what I was looking for. So if it didn't, I believe if it didn't work out with this new employer, then I would continue to look for the opportunity, because I was at a point that I knew that it was the next step that I needed to take. If I wanted to continue on the path and go on to the next step, that was the next step. So that was the request that I needed to make. And this was an employer that I had worked for on a temporary basis before, so I had some familiarity with them.
Mm-hmm.
And so they knew my work and my work ethic. So I feel like to them it was more a matter of whether corporate was looking for a full-time versus like them themselves trying to make that decision. So thank God it all worked out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was just, I knew what I needed to do at that moment. The opportunity came. So I made the request because it's what I needed to do to take it to take my path on my career to the next level.
Wow. Well, it's amazing, but when you know what you want, right? it makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, that's that's what I attribute that moment to.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. You know, at one point you said there seemed to be an internal struggle that you said you didn't understand, or maybe even you didn't want to deal with those things at the time. And so, what was that like, and how did you ultimately get through through that? And you know, to me, here comes that word resilience again, right? It seemed like you always had that ability to just, I call it the bounce back gene.
I
Like,
like
did you
that.
know that?
I didn't know that, but I like that. I'm gonna start using that.
Okay, yeah, you have my permission to use it. Okay.
Yeah, I like that. I
Um,
think at that, yeah, looking back, looking back is now I'm identifying it as an internal struggle. Um, and I say that because, you know, I had the great New York agency job. I had the guy, married a wonderful, handsome husband. I was living in the big city. I made it through New York, you know. You know, I had great friends. I went out, you know, whining and dining, doing all the great things of New York City and experiencing all of that. But then I would find myself at times, you know, breaking down, like emotionally, you know, feeling lonely, you know, feeling sadness, like an internal sadness or an internal, you know, and I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what it was at the time, you know, because it felt like I had, you know, all those things, you know, if you ask, you know, majority of the people, it seems like you know, you have everything together. You know, you got everything. Everything is lining up. So what, you know, what could be wrong? And those breakdowns or that feeling of sadness is what I now call recognize as that I was having this internal struggle, meaning maybe I didn't give myself the opportunity to know myself, or to the time to know myself. I feel like I was lining everything up based on kind of like what society says that you should be doing, or what you should be achieving, or what success means.
right.
You know, landing the job, marrying the guy, you know, living in the big city, hanging out with friends, hanging out on the weekends, and going out and having fancy dinners, and you know, and just keep doing that. And that's, you know, that's to many that was a definition of, you know, she's got it all. She, you know, the life is, you know, going well. But there was a struggle there, because why was I feeling, you know, why was I having those breakdowns? I think to getting through it was, I would describe it as like a trial and error, because I didn't know what was going on. Right. So I didn't know. I'm saying it's an internal struggle now that I'm looking back at it, but I didn't know at the time what was going on, because everything looked great. But
Yeah.
so it was trial and error, you know, and I could see things, different things will pull me, you know, like you know, in my relationship, there would be, you know, you could tell that maybe there was a disconnect there, and then that would bring me back and say, okay, hold on, what's going on? You know, am I setting this relationship in the way that I want it to be? Am I dedicating the time that needs to be done? Or in my work, you know, am I still interested in work? Like, things were pulling me, and I was trying different things. And then ultimately, I think it came down to, okay, what are my priorities, right? So I have all these things. What do I really care about? Asking the question, what do I really care about? What do I really want in, you know, in my life? How do I want my life to be? And through asking those questions and pulling here, pulling there, giving a little bit more to my work, reducing more attention to my work, paying more attention to my relationship, reducing, like, it was a, you know, it was a juggle to try to balance. There was an imbalance I would say, and that's what was going on. And ultimately, that's where this decision of making a big move came about, which gave the opportunity to see life in a new light, to see that that life can be it can be expressed, or can be made up of different things, not just the regular things that we're taught that life needs to be and what you need to be,
Right. Yeah. And in
terrible
America,
dream of, like life can have there's many different people have many different live their lives in different ways. And that's
yeah,
what I'm saying, that making a big move allowed me to see a new way that I could live my life, that addressed more of an internal need that I wasn't getting in my New York life.
yes.
And that's
Okay.
ultimately, I only know that now.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
See, this is why people come on Talk Leadership with Cedric. See, everybody needs a little TLC. It's just that it helps bring it all out and bring it into the forefront. See, that's what happens.
Right. Right.
So, in America, we call it living the American dream, and you're living the American dream, but you're living for the things that everybody else wants or believes you should have, right? But if you're not internally, if you're not happy or satisfied with that, there's always going to be this struggle. And the reason I wanted you to kind of walk the audience through this is because I know that there's somebody in the audience that has experienced or has experienced that exact same thing, right? And they struggle with trying to figure out how to overcome that. And then they go into battles of depression and get really down on themselves, and then feel that they can't overcome it. They can't handle it. They can't do anything, right? So you're looking at someone that went through that internal struggle and she's overcome it. And so I wanted her to share her story with you guys tonight. So I'm sure making that decision to move to Dominican Republic, and I mean, I know you originally were born there, but you were like 10 years old when you moved away. So it's not like
very different.
Right. Yeah. You weren't going to ride your little tricycle down the street or anything like that at this point, right? But I know that had to be scary, challenging, nerve-wracking. So what brought you through that time for you guys making that decision?
Yes. So this was definitely a decision that was made between partners, right? With me and my husband. I don't know how it would have gone if I had to. I don't know if I would have done it on my own, but we made it together. We made the decision together. We thought it through. It wasn't a decision that was made, from one day to the next. I think we had the discussion maybe a year or more, or over a year, and it was a lot of going back and forth, right? Your partner would present something, and then I would present something, and then so through those conversations and those pros and the cons and making a list, and we kind of help each other to understand what it would mean to make this move. And obviously, there's also there's different implications individually. What it would mean for my husband to leave New York, where he's born in the Bronx and lived in New York all his life, and leave his family behind. And then for me, it was like I'm doing the immigrant story all backwards. Like, hello, my parents are like, we struggled so much to bring you over here, the land of opportunities, and now you want to drop it to go back to, a lot of us immigrant, you always hear, yes, I will go back to my country when I retire, right? So like when you're older, you get the nice little house and you go back and live quietly. But I kind of, didn't wait to that point.
You
So
broke the
it
mold.
was shocking to obviously to my parents. They were like, "What? What are you gonna do? Like, why are you gonna leave in front of me?" So and it was it was also I had built this this career in New York, and I was on this path, and it was like I had to quit my job. I would have to put in a resignation because my agency is in nationwide, also global, but not they didn't have offices in Dominican Republic or anything. So it would mean resigning. So that was my personal struggle. It was like, what am I going to do? What is this going to look like? And we didn't know what it was going to look like. But I think making the decision together, knowing that it was a move that was going to be that I wasn't alone, right? Because
Yeah.
you're making it with someone else. Support each other in a way and make the transition a bit easier. I think one of my last phrase to make the final decision was, "Well, if it doesn't work out, I'll just move back." so I really, because this is such a decision that it's hard to like make the leap. It's a hard decision to make. You will never feel 100% sure. I mean, it's impossible. You don't know what life is going to be somewhere else. You don't, because I've never experienced it in that sense. So I had to say that phrase to just ease the, and take that leap. If it doesn't work out, I'll just move back. That was a little bit that was my last line to kind of, okay, the discussion's over, we're gonna do it. That was
Give yourself your permission to actually do it. So that meant you had to get outside your comfort zone.
Yes. Yes.
And I like that. I like living life outside the comfort zone.
Yes. A lot of uncertainty. I did try looking, what would I be doing down here before, from the States, but things just don't work out that way. Over here, they like to do things in person. They want to meet you. Opportunities are not, easily like just posted everywhere or floating on the internet, where it might be easier. The structures in the US allow you to find things easier. Here, you just have to calm down and see what's around and communicate with people and network and meet people. And that's where the opportunities will come. And that's just how it works here. I was trying to do it, the way that I knew, but quickly realized that it wasn't going to work out. I sent tons of resumes. I sent my stuff to many, it just wasn't getting any traction. So moving was, I still moved with a lot of uncertainty of what was I going to be doing and how my life was going to be.
Wow. Well, that is awesome. And audience, you see, this is important for you to understand and for you to get and see that even when you operate outside your comfort zone, even when you push the limits of your boundaries, you still can be successful. Rosabell is an example of that. And I'm sure you are enjoying her story and understand. You can probably see some things in her that are happening in your life, whether that's happening in your personal life, whether that happening in your professional life, that could happen in your entrepreneur life, right? So last question around this, and then we're going to talk about your business. So you said, I have a healthy and supportive relationship with my husband. How important is that in everything that you're doing with your business, in the move, and just giving you a good sound mind?
Yeah, I mean, a healthy and supportive relationship with the person that you are sharing your life with, that you're spending the most time with, I think it's crucial. It's something that's important. It's what it's what gets you through those moments. And I value it a lot. a lot of the decisions that we make together. You have to have those discussions because also we've decided to form a unit. So that means we need to take each other into consideration when, as long as we decide to stay together, then we have to have that open supportive relationship and open communication. Another point that I would make on that is that everything in life is connected. So if there's an imbalance in one aspect of your life, or if you're succeeding or something's going well in one aspect of your life, let's say your career, but then you're having a struggle in another part of your life, maybe trouble at home, you will never be able to, there will be an imbalance in your life as a whole, and you will never be able to reach the potential in either areas because they're not in harmony, they're not working together. So I don't think it can't be two separate things. If I decided to be in a relationship and have that's a part of my life, an aspect of my life is my home life, my relationship with my partner. So that needs to be healthy and strong too, just as my personal growth needs to be, or my career needs to be, or my relationships in my career and with other people also have to be in harmony with how my, so my life can be going well.
Yeah, and to be in balance. Well, that is awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that part of your story with us. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Hopefully our audience did and picked up some things that they can utilize as a part of your story. And then the good thing is they're going to get to see it and read it when your book comes out.
Yes.
So, we're speaking into existence, folks.
Yes.
Her book, and you have to claim it.
Yes, let's do it.
So, Rosabell, we have a segment here that we call Would You Rather? So I want you to play along with me here on Would You Rather. See, I didn't give you those on
no, you did not.
Yeah. All right. So would you rather meet your great grandparents or meet your great grandchildren?
Oh my gosh. Oh my God. I think my great grandparents was my initial was what I wanted to say. Yes.
Okay.
I only had to think of, when I started to think about it, I was like, oh, it's hard to choose. But initially I'd say my great grandparents. I think I'm saying that because I had a great relationship with one of my grandparents that she passed away while I was young, but I always remember that and keep that close to me. And I think it would have been great to also spend some time with my great grandparents.
Okay. All right. So would you rather know all the world's languages or speak with animals?
Oh. Speak with animals, for sure.
I know sometimes
I'm an animal lover, so
okay.
I want to speak to animals. I would like to. I like the way they work. Sometimes people get complicated. People are complicated, even when you know their language.
Yeah,
they can get complicated. So I think I'm going to go with the animals on this.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So would you rather go to dinner alone or go to a concert alone?
Oh man, I don't like to do either of those alone. I'm not one of those like go to the movies alone person. Okay. I feel awkward. This is my honest response. But maybe the concert, because I'm sure I'll talk to someone there.
So you are a people person. So would you rather be an adult all your life or a kid all your life?
Oh, I'm being a kid all my life.
Kid all your life? All right.
Yes,
Two
I
more.
can't help make things complicated.
Okay. That's definitely true. Two more. Would you rather own your own private island or your own private jet?
Oh, right. With the jet, I could go to many islands. But
Yeah.
on an island, I could build it the way that I want to do it and invite people over. Oh man. The island.
The island. All right. Last one. Would you rather have $1 million in Amazon gift cards or $100,000 in real money?
Real money. Why did I think about that? Real money.
Well, the Amazon gift cards are real too.
I know. No, but with Amazon gift card, I'm only limited to what's available on Amazon.
Yeah, which is the world now.
Well, yes, there are many things. That's why I had to think about it. But the real money allows me to also consider some things that might not be on Amazon.
Okay, all right.
Very rare, but
I'll have to tell Amazon that you said that there's some things that they don't have. So thank you for playing that version of Would You Rather. So now let's get down to your business here. So you are an entrepreneur, and so let's help our audience understand one, what your business is and how did you get started?
Okay. So I as you heard from my story, I studied marketing, so I am a marketing professional. So when I moved to Punta Cana, I went on a search for what was happening here in regards to marketing. Who were the people that I needed to know that were doing marketing so I can figure out how to. That's what I know. That's what my expertise that I brought from New York and from my life experience. So that's the path that I was looking at and the industry that I was looking at. So through that, I met a wonderful young lady named Rosy Peralta. And she had a startup, small marketing firm agency here in Punta Cana. And she was looking, I saw a vacancy that she was looking for. So I applied the same way that I send my resume to everybody. I sent it to her, and we started working together. It was more like on a part-time, flexible basis. They were just, starting out, so they knew that they needed. They were growing a little bit, and they needed some extra help. So somehow we crossed paths and we met. And shortly after we started working together part-time, she turned out to be an awesome person. We got along super well. She saw a value in me, obviously, that she could not. So obviously, coming from New York, moving to the Dominican Republic, many of us might understand that there's a gap, obviously, there in pay structure and the value of that kind of stuff. So anything that I was looking for, I would not be making. And when it comes to money, you can't expect to be making what you would be making in a city like New York, especially coming down here to a growing country, developing country. So I totally understood that. And that's why I was okay with just doing part-time and having it flexible, because although I resigned from my agency in the States, my boss always had the dream that I would return. So he did not want to let me go officially. So I was still doing part-time work for them. Okay. So when they needed extra support, they would call me and I would fly out. So I needed that flexibility because I loved my work that I was working with the agency. And I love that they gave me that opportunity. But he always, every trip, he convinced me that if I was changed my mind already, if I wanted to move back, and I said, no, I'm going to see what happens. So I needed that. And, working with Rosie gave me that opportunity to be flexible. And, when I got called to go to the States, I would go out to the States. But since she couldn't, she saw the value that I could bring to her from my experience and my expertise coming from New York. She offered me to be a partner in her agency, and that's how I became a partner and an entrepreneur. I wasn't planning on it. That's not what I never signed up for. I never even thought about running my own agency or being my own boss. I never thought, it just didn't cross my mind. I was looking for a place to work, just the same way, but it turned out this opportunity came, and we formed a partnership, and we have a boutique marketing agency here in Punta Cana. We're a full service agency. Obviously, come with Rosie has expertise down here with marketing down here in Dominican Republic, and of course, I come with my expertise from the U.S. So now, especially with COVID, we do expand, and we serve. We're open and serve U.S. clients as needed, because it's important to during these times to change strategies, and see what works best. So we are expanding that sense, but we specialize in strategy and branding, and we also do consulting within marketing for marketing and marketing needs.
Awesome. And what's the name of your business?
Ciruela.
Say it again.
Ciruela.
Ciruela. Okay.
Which means it means plum, as in the fruit.
Okay. All right. Awesome. So, one of the things you said, and I want to point this out to our audience because it's so important. You've dropped a whole lot of nuggets tonight, and you probably didn't even, it's just your natural style, but you dropped a whole lot of nuggets. And here I want to point these out. One, we talked about your resilience earlier, right? Two, we talked about confidence, right? Three, we talked about your ability to get outside your comfort zone. And four, the ability to adapt and overcome, right? Those are four ingredients that every entrepreneur has to have. So you are naturally born to be an entrepreneur. You just didn't realize it, right? And but these four skills you just naturally have. And we at the John Maxwell team say, look, operate in your strength zone. And you're operating in your strength zone is just so natural to you. It's just like Michael Jordan when he gets on a basketball court. Well, when he was younger, when he get on a basketball court, he was operating in his strength zone. It wasn't hard work. It wasn't a challenge. He just did it. And to me, I'm seeing it come out in you, in your words tonight, that resilience, confidence, ability to operate outside the comfort zone, and adapt and overcome philosophy, because everything you talked about, all four of those things are clearly there. So to me, you were born to be an entrepreneur. So you're awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
And one of the things I always ask a question is, leaders come with different types of strengths, and what are those strengths you feel that leaders need to have? I think I already have the answer to that. That's resilience, confidence, operate outside the comfort zone, and adapt and overcome philosophy. But do you want to add anything else to that?
No, those are awesome. Yeah, those make total sense. I think also, leadership, it comes to, people. Got to think about people and those around you, and how your leadership affects those around you most. Sure. That's an important piece to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree with that. So leaders good leaders ask great questions. So what are some questions that either you ask people or someone has asked you and went, wow, that's a great question. Now outside of the questions I've asked you tonight, this is different.
What questions? Did you give me that one? I don't remember that. Oh,
Yeah. Yes. Number 7 on your list.
leaders ask great questions. I think I think an important question to ask is, again, what are those things that are important or important to you as a person? And being honest with yourself about that. I think it's important. Because at the end of the day, I feel like it comes down to, you have to understand yourself to be able to help others. And when you're in a position of leadership, whether you know it or not, because leaders come in all shapes and sizes and, in all levels. I think I've learned that through you, actually. Sometimes we're in a position we don't see ourselves as leaders, but you do become a leader to those around you, and making sure that you're being true to yourself and asking yourself those honest questions as to, why am I doing this? Why is this important to me? And making sure that those are the things that drive what you're doing, and taking into consideration the needs of those around you and how your actions are going to affect those around you. Those are questions to ask. Even asking, how will this decision impact those around me? If you're in a position of leadership. So I think,
Yes,
yeah,
I like
there are some
that
questions
question.
in there. I think those are
Okay, I like that. So, growth, in order to grow, you have to be intentional about it. In fact, the law of intentionality says that growth doesn't just happen. We must be intentional, right? So what do you do for personal and professional growth?
I'm doing a lot of things now. I'm on another mastermind.
Are you?
You knew that, but I'm doing another mastermind with Joanna.
Are you? Okay. Joanna Rincon?
Gone, yes. I think that's a piece of being intentional and continuing on. And it doesn't have to be that. It's just I've designated time to personal development. So I think it's about that. Whether it's whether as I join, I'm dedicating my Monday nights, 1 hour, 1 hour on Mondays to have this discussion, which is in regards to my personal growth. I have with Ciruela, with me and Rosie, we have a mentor that we meet once a week. Those are a part of me being intentional with my professional and personal growth. I dedicate time to myself in the mornings through my morning routine to kind of be, have a space to myself to reflect on things, or to do something that's not even just having the space that no one, you're not doing anything else for someone else. No one's waiting for you. No one's, just allowing yourself to have that space, even if it's just to just sit and feel some fresh air in your face. Yeah. Like that has a big impact. And I think that those moments are important, like a moment of pause, a moment to kind of like see things still. You can get some great ideas during that time when you without even wanting to. Those are some moments where you get some great insights and ideas that you weren't thinking of, because during the day you might be so busy with everything else running around. Even if you're not physically running around, once the day starts, your mind is in other things. what's
Right.
for lunch, who's waiting for me, what's my next meeting, what am I doing next? And so giving yourself that time to pause is part of personal growth, I believe.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So what books are you reading right now?
I'm reading the oh my God. I'm doing the masterclass in Spanish, so I was going to tell you the name in Spanish, but it's in English is Put Your Dreams to the Test.
Oh, put your dream to the test.
Yeah.
Okay. So the number one question is my dream my dream, right?
Yes. So Put Your Dreams to the Test. I think it's I love it so far. I think it's great. I think it's gonna help me a lot to continue on my journey.
Journey. All right. All right. So make sure you put that book in that dream.
Yeah.
So here's a couple of rapid fire questions. So what's been the most exciting thing that's happened to you this year so far?
This year, oh gosh, 2020. I met you.
Well, okay, that's awesome.
Exciting. Some great things has happened this year. I think there's been a lot of things that's happened this year. It's been a year of a lot of growth, actually, personally, because with the different lockdowns and things like that, I've decided to use the time and embrace the time to develop these things, to learn, to discover new things. And I feel like, to me, that's exciting. That actually, it gets me excited to see different opportunities, to look forward, to see what's to come. And it's also part of enjoying that journey, and keep continuing to work on myself. So having the opportunity to do that, that's given me a lot of excitement this year. My small agency hasn't shut down yet.
Okay.
Through COVID.
That's good.
So a lot of people are struggling, obviously, because of all the things that are happening. We lost clients. They lost because we depend on our clients doing well. So, but if they're not able to open for business, it's hard for them to continue contracts with us. So being able to push through that, to re-strategize, to find new ways to expand, to look forward to ways that we can get through this and continue on the pursuit of the dream of having a successful business and helping others through our business. That's exciting. I think those things are exciting. And that's,
Okay. All right. That's awesome. So now it's just you in the house. Your husband's not there. There's no one else there. It's just you and your four walls. What dessert do you eat?
What dessert? If I have dessert in the house.
Yeah.
I do have a sweet tooth. Anything with chocolate is probably what I'm going to be eating. I also have a neighbor that sends me that bakes a lot, and they send me a lot of sweets. So I'm not like, I really enjoy all types of sweets, like actual desserts. So it's pretty. I would probably be eating a dessert, maybe a chocolate cake, maybe a carrot cake. I love all those.
Okay. See, now you know it's time to go get a dessert. So what's next for you in your life and your career and your business?
Like I've been saying, and I said in the last question is we're gonna continue to find ways to grow. I'm gonna continue to dedicate time to be intentional. Continue to set priorities, set good habits, which is really important. And that's what we're looking forward to. We're looking forward to making it through this year, looking forward to 2021 in regards to business, and expand our business and gain more clients and continue to serve people through our work. I'm also discovering some new things that I might be into. I have a bit of a long-term goal. I think ultimately I want to see if there's a way I can open up some sort of community center, which will have a farm attached to it. I know that sounds weird, but
Okay.
yeah. So I've been
Go ahead. I can't say, Rosabell, you're going to be a farmer.
well, you know. Here I live in a very bountiful landscape,
No.
so it's not that hard to grow things around here. You know, I do like sweets, but I also eat a lot of plant. I'm like 95% eat only plant-based food.
Okay.
So like fruits and vegetables and fresh produce and all that stuff is important to me. So and
They have stores, right?
yes, but it's not the same. To grow your own stuff is not the same.
Okay, I got you. I got you.
I recently discovered permaculture. I don't know if you've heard of that term.
I've not, no.
Yeah, it's a way of it's a design concept for life. It's care for earth, care for people, and sharing with others. So it's a model for the way you live your life. A lot of and a piece of that means how you use land and earth. So I want to find a way to incorporate that concept and build something around that concept. So that's why I need to have the farm, because it has a lot to do with growing.
I might have to invite you back on the show to come talk about that.
I know, to see how I'm going.
When
It's
you're a farmer.
long term. It's a 10-year.
Oh, okay. All right. You're gonna have your hair. You have your hair back. You have your overalls on and your former boots on.
It's a long-term goal, but it is something that I do want to continue to explore.
Okay.
And I'm going to use my mastermind to the book to see how I can develop that dream and start working on it. I mean,
awesome.
Nobody will tell me. That's my idea now, but we don't know what we don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that is awesome. So how can our audience, if someone wanted to contact you, contact your business, how could they get in contact with you?
Well, I think the best way to find me is on LinkedIn.
Okay.
I think I wrote down my LinkedIn /RC Jimenez.
Okay.
So it's my first name initial, my middle name initial is Carolina, which is C, and then my last name, Jimenez. I think through there, you will find, obviously, you can stay in contact with me, and also there'll be connection there to my agency, Ciruela, from there as well.
Awesome. Perfect. And I will make sure that we get that posted in the comments so that if someone wanted to contact you about your business, we have audiences from all over, and we may have someone that's right in Dominican Republic that's looking for someone. So it'd be great. This time has just like passed.
No, it went so quick.
Yes, it did. We could probably go on for another hour. I know you have things to do. I got to wash my hair and all that stuff. So, I have thoroughly enjoyed you being on the show, Rosabell. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me, for giving me this opportunity. I had a great time chatting with you, and thank you.
Awesome. All right. Well, folks, I always tell you, if you are, and in fact, I want to say this, make sure that wherever you are in the world, make sure that you enjoy time with your friends and your family in this holiday season. And I want to make sure that you understand, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu.